Hello and welcome to a short tutorial on how to create your own custom code bricks to be used in datrics.ai platform. We're going to start with initializing the project, and it might be an empty project like mine, or you can have an existing pipelines in here. The thing we're actually going to need is the name of the project itself. So now we will open the terminal and we're gonna create the folder from which we will be working. So make directory and let's call it custom and go to that directory. Nice. So the very first thing we need to do is install our package. You need Python 3 on your machine. Once you have that installed, you can just type in pip install datrics. Press enter and it will install the library for you. This might take a tad more time-wise because I already had it pre-installed. The next thing we're going to do is write datrix -- help, and here we have the list of commands where we can use. So the very first thing we need to do is initialize. So for that we write datrix init. And this folder is initialized as a working directory from where we can create new custom code bricks. The next thing we need to do is figure out which environment we're going to be using. So datrix env, and it asks for a URL. So this is the example of a URL you can use. If you're using any other than production environment, you might copy this part from the browser and just add API /v1 to that. I'm actually using our testing environment, so I will type that in manually. So testing, sorry for that, datrics.ai /API /v1. Good. Next thing we can do is login. Datrix login. It asks for an email. Successfully logged in. Nice. Next thing we need to do is figure out the ID of the project we're going to be working with. So datrix projects, and here we here we can see the ID of the project I'm going to be working with. It was named custom tutorial. That is the project ID number 971. Okay, so the next command we're going to be using is datrix create, and it asks for a project ID, so 971. The brick directory name, let's create something simple like the range, and again range. And if we open the Finder in the folder, we see that there is the folder called range, and there are two different files in here. One of them is called manifest.yml, and this file describes how the brick looks in general. So it's the brick called range. It has one input of type data, named data, and has one output of type data, named data. You can also have the type model, and you can name them in whichever way you would like. The other file, that's brick custom code.py, and this one actually is where all the code will be written. We're gonna not touch these three functions for now. We're gonna be only interested in the function called perform execution. So there are quite a few functions we're interested in. First of all is the function that allows us to retrieve the input itself. So we will write data is self get input by order, and the ordering starts from 0, and you need to add value here. So this will allow us to take the first input and store it in a variable called data. The next thing, we're going to do something like very simple. So for example, we will create a new column called range, and that will be range that has data shape 0. Basically, we're gonna number all the entries. And the next thing we need to finish our execution with is populate this data into the outputs. So again, we can call the function called self fill outputs by type with value. So that's the full name of the method we're going to be using. The type we're putting in is data, and the value is data. So this data is the name of the variable. This data is from the manifest YML. That's the type of the output we're going to be working with. We can save this file, and if we go back to the terminal, we can write datrix push. Enter brick directory name, we call that one range, and brick successfully added. Now if we go to the platform, we can open the pipeline, and in the custom code bricks we will see that there is the range brick. So for example, let's grab whichever, let's grab the segmentation blobs connected here, and pipeline successful. Okay, let's rerun it. Yep, and on the output, you see that there is a range that starts from 0. This is a very short explanation on how to use custom code. If you would go to our wiki, there is quite more information on how you can use that. There is an example on how to use the validate args. Actually, I would suggest using leaving validate args as always true, but validate inputs can validate both arguments and the inputs you're feeding to the brick, perform execution, and perform light run are gonna be how's it called? We'll have the examples here, and long story short, you can just like copy the perform execution to perform light run. It's not going to be too bad of an idea. And the thing you might be interested in is in here. On the bottom, there is a list of all the helper functions that are available for you. So for example, for input handling, there are quite a few functions like check number of inputs, or check if input with index has value. Argument handling function is, for example, check if argument exists and check if argument matches type. And there are also some additional functions or libraries you can use within the code itself. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us and we will help you out. Thank you for your attention, and bye.